Hello and welcome back to World's Finest, everybody. We appreciate your patience and welcome to the rebooted version of World's Finest, brought to you by the Comic Collectors Guild. My name is Jake. You guys know me as the Superman, and joining me once again is my co-host Lee Lawson. Lee, it is good to see you, my friend. How are you?
I'm great, man. It's good to see you. Good to hear your voice again, and nice to be able to talk to everybody. I missed you guys, but I'm excited to be back with our rebooted show. Looks great.
Absolutely. It does. Yeah, we really appreciate you guys' patience. We really wanted to upgrade our equipment and systems to be able to give you guys a much better show and content as things go on. So we really appreciate your patience, and it is good to be back. We definitely have some more stuff coming as things go along, but we figured we get this show rolling. And what a good way to start! But our first topic of the new show, what are we going to be breaking down today, Lee?
Well, my friend, as our new banner shows everyone, we are talking about the top 10 franchises. That's right. We're talking about our favorite franchises. Uh, as always, we're going to be sharing the top 10 list, as we said. We'll have a couple honorable mentions. And guys, this list is really knows no boundaries at all, right? We pull from genre, action, comedy, comics, movies, cartoons, etc. Things that keep us coming back to dip in the well, things that we enjoy over and over again. Maybe these might not be your best franchises, but these are our favorites, things that are near and dear to our hearts.
Absolutely. And keep in mind, guys, it is very subjective. Obviously, our lists are going to be very different from you guys, but this is our personal favorites. And we're going to be interested in what you guys think and who your top 10 franchises are as well. So feel free to chime in, hit that subscribe button while you're at it. And let's just dive into this thing, man. Your number 10 top franchise for you. Who is that?
For me, it is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. That's right, guys.
Ooh.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you guys might know the movie that came out in 1992. Admittedly, that movie was not great. It was a failure in all accounts. Then the show came out in 1997. Both of these were written by Joss Whedon, as you guys know now from the Avengers films, of course, who really kind of took the Marvel universe and blew it up and put it out there to pop culture universe. But with him in control, this is one of the best TV shows ever. Every year during its run, it was in the top 5 critically reviewed shows, if not number 1. Definitely should have won a few Emmys in its time for best TV show, or at least for writing. It did win a few for like makeup and music competition, I believe, or composition. I was a fan of Buffy and followed Angel to his spinoff. And when the show ended, I actually continued in comic form into season 8 for Buffy and season 6 for Angel. And I'm still a Sarah Michelle Gellar fan to this day.
I am as well, man. She was one of the first crushes I had. Admittedly, I didn't watch the show as avidly as you did, but I remember being like, Buffy is pretty darn cute. So I'm with it, dude. I think they definitely did the whole like vampire Transylvania kind of spin the best, as far as a TV show. They nailed it, and I really like their storyline. So fantastic choice for your number 10. Mine is my number 10 is dipping into the toes of Disney right off the bat. We're talking about the Pirates of the Caribbean as my number 10. We follow the amazing performance by Johnny Depp as Captain Jack Sparrow, one of my all-time favorite characters. Also headlined by Keira Knightley, Orlando Bloom, Geoffrey Rush, who just did a phenomenal job as side characters, William Turner, and I just loved this story from the beginning of The Curse of the Black Pearl. Seeing them go from Barbossa to Davy Jones, and then transitioning into like Blackbeard and into the last movie where we really see the full circle of this storyline of pirates. And I don't know about you, but like as a kid or as a young person, like pirates have always been kind of interesting. They're scoundrels. They go for buried treasure. There's like all these legends. Just even in real life. With Blackbeard and all that. So I was just a fan, and to me, it's just one of the best franchises Disney has put out, and that's saying something. And we have the news now that Margot Robbie will be helming the pirate ship in the reboot for this. So I'm really, really excited. But really, my hat's off to Johnny Depp. This is my favorite role of his. He absolutely made it one of the more iconic roles for an actor, I think, in recent years. So my hat's off to him. Pirates of the Caribbean, incredible franchise, and that is why it's my number 10.
Dude, I agree with you. Johnny Depp, one of the best actors out there. Been a huge fan of his for a number of years. He was nominated for an Oscar for this
Yep.
particular role in the first movie. And Hollywood been trying to do a pirate movie for years, and
Yep.
year after year, and time after time they flopped miserably. Uh,
Yeah.
and this one came out and just blew the doors off of
Yeah.
everything, and it's continued to run and run. And everybody was so skeptical at first because they were like, "Who's going to see a movie off of a ride?" But
About a
no,
ride.
fantastic
Yeah.
choice. Yeah, yeah, but fantastic choice, man. For me, it is Transformers. Is my number 9. I've been a fan of this series from the very beginning. I'm talking about the old animated cartoon that came out of nowhere and was just incredibly awesome. I followed them from there. Read their comics. Definitely the live action films came out a few years ago with Michael Bay behind it. I mean, I thought the first movie was
Oh
fantastic.
yeah.
Of course, I've been a fan of all of the other ones as well. I'm really excited that they've kind of rebooted it and taken it in a more of a different direction. I think with Bumblebee, I thought that was a fantastic reboot and a restart for the series, and I can't wait to see where they go from there. But yeah, I remember especially when they brought Frank Welker back to be the voice of Optimus Prime.
Oh
I
yeah.
thought, what a great call for them, because there's
Yeah.
nothing as iconic as that,
Yeah.
voice
Yeah.
of Optimus Prime's, and taking control and telling the Autobots to, what to do
Roll
and just
out.
being in charge. Yeah, exactly. Autobots roll out. Yeah, there you go. No, man, all those reasons are why it's my number 9.
No, great choice. Peter Well, also the voice of the Predator, which is very interesting to know. With his sound effects and Optimus Prime. I was like, I didn't know that until like a week ago. So, really cool fun fact. But no, I'm with you. I love this. This franchise is funny because it's one of my favorite as well. The highs are super high and the lows are really low. Like there's no in between with these movies. They're either incredible or they just have been dumpster fires, in my opinion. I love the first one. I love the third one, and I really love Bumblebee as well. So it's like every other, you're getting some good ones. But I love the Autobots, the Decepticons, Megatron, all those guys. So fantastic choice for your number 9. For me, I'm going to stick in the Disney universe. I guess I should get my mouse ears and stuff. But I'm going with the franchise that really started the trend for Pixar, and I'm going with Toy Story. Toy Story, my number 9. We follow the story of you know Andy's Toys, Buzz and Woody, phenomenal performances by Tom Hanks and Tim Allen. And what a run that this franchise has had. Every single one of them, I think, has been somewhere between like the 98% to 100% range on Rotten Tomatoes. They continue to build this story. I thought after the third one, which had one of the best endings and one of the more pulling on your heartstrings moments to wrap that story. I thought that was it, but they came out with a fourth one and continued to make another great story. It was really Woody's story, and they just have built this incredible world. I mean, if you really thought let's do a story about some toys, you'd be like that would never work. But what they've done is just incredible. The cast they've had from Don Rickles and again Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, they've just knocked it out of the park. And we've grown to care for these toys so much so. And Disney has the Toy Story Land now in the parks, which is incredible. Pizza Planet. If I was ever to open a chain of restaurants, Pizza Planet for real would be my thing. I'd have the old vending machine with the aliens and the claw, and it'd be awesome. So one of my favorite Disney franchises and my number 9 franchise of all time, Toy Story.
Awesome choice. I believe that for the one that's Pixar's first film, I believe it has still remained their crown jewel of
Yeah.
all films, of the trilogies and all of that. I think that maybe the closest, and all of their films have been fantastic. The
Yeah.
closest that rivals it might be The Incredibles to me, I think,
Yeah.
and they're only 2 films in.
Maybe
Toy Story's
maybe
remained
the
crown jewel.
Nemo, but I would say
Yeah.
Incredibles and Toy Story are the two. I'm with you, but since there's been 4, whereas Incredibles had that long gap, and I was actually close to putting Incredibles on here, I would agree with you. I would say Toy Story is their crown jewel. It'll be interesting, to see what kind of. I bet I'd be surprised if they didn't do a spinoff of some kind, down the road. Maybe not with Woody or Buzz, but within the Toy Story world, I guess. And shout out to Duke Kaboom by Keanu Reeves. I love that character.
I was just about to say him. I think that's the perfect one for a spinoff right there, right? The Adventures of Duke Kaboom. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. I would be there opening night. But yeah, Toy Story my number 9.
All right, dude. For me, my number 8 is Jurassic Park. Since 1993, I've been a fan of these films. I
Yeah,
mean, the technology that Spielberg utilized to make this was just fantastic. I mean, it was like these dinosaurs. You wanted felt like you could go to that park and actually see dinosaurs. You know, they were something to behold when it came out, and I really haven't been disappointed in the film yet. The closest that I came to it would maybe be part 3, but still, even that I had a lot of. I thought it was fantastic. And then when they rebooted it with the newer ones, Jurassic World, and they've continued that story, they've gotten and they've created characters that I care about, and I want to see what's going on with them. And now to know that they're actually it's all culminating into from the first trilogy of films and then this last trilogy. They're bringing all of those old characters back, and I just giving them actually meaty roles, not just cameos, but they're going to
yeah.
have like real supporting acting roles and be part of the story. I really can't wait to see what they do. This next summer can't get here fast enough for a number of reasons and movie
Yeah,
reasons, but that's
yeah,
definitely one of them for sure.
yeah. First one to
Yeah, and
get
all of those reasons.
2020 the hell out of here. And second off, yeah, it's really going to be like the Infinity War of Jurassic Park. It's going to be like crazy to see. I'm so excited for that as well. But I'm gonna segue backwards because we ended my last number 9 with Duke Kaboom, Keanu Reeves. I'm gonna go with my number 8, sticking with Keanu Reeves. I'm talking John Wick. The Baba
Oh yeah.
Yaga is my number 8. My God, have I loved these films. Every single one. I have so much fun watching these things. I remember really just being on your edge of the seat. And it's like the first time in the theater where like literally the whole time people were like, oh, and like, yeah, like it was so cool. And again, it kind of seems like a cheesy, simple premise, but they nailed it. And from the very first one, I think it caught everybody off guard of how well it did and just how good of a movie it is. I mean, you get the action, and my gosh, Keanu Reeves is so phenomenal, with the way he handles weapons and his fighting choreography. And he just is awesome. But you got the Continental. You see really this awesome assassin. It really throws me back to like back in the day of like Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone and Chuck Norris in the prime. You're like, well, that dude ain't gonna die. Like no matter the odds, they're gonna come out on top. But yet it's still awesome. And they've to me, I mean, I love the first one. I thought the second one was even better, and the third one's my favorite one of all of them. I mean, there are so many kills, and just he's on a horse for crying out loud at one point. A horse double kicks a dude's head and snaps his neck. We got Boban from the 76ers making a cameo in the beginning, and it's just awesome. I cannot recommend this franchise enough. It's so much fun to watch. And John Wick, it's also my sister-in-law's like favorite franchise as well. So shout out to her.
Yeah,
I know
shout out.
she'll appreciate this. But John Wick, my number 8.
Great choice. I mean, the world that this movie has created, I mean, they've really created this universe in such a short amount of time. I
Yeah.
mean, there's talk about the spinoff, the Continental. They're
Yeah.
getting their own show. There's rumors that Keanu might, make it even appear on it from time to time as well. Yeah, I can't wait to see what they do next. One thing that this COVID did do, I was really waiting to see Keanu versus Keanu in
Oh
opening
yeah.
day with John Wick
Oh,
4, The
me
Matrix
too.
4, opening them up. They were opened, labeled, ready to be set, opening up the same day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And since then, because of COVID and everything, they've blinked, and I forgot which one has moved. But I couldn't
Yeah.
wait to see what Neo versus John Wick. Now that's a battle.
Which one will you go with? Were you planning on going to see one over the other, or were you
Oh
going to do a
man,
double feature?
maybe I've made it a double feature, but I will say that I will probably say, as revolutionary as The Matrix was, I think I can say really enjoy the John Wick films more as a whole, because the Matrix films came out with a bang and
Yeah.
then got without. They definitely had their highlights, fight
Yeah.
scenes within them, but
Regress.
me, they got worse and worse
Yep.
as they went on.
Yep. I
You might
will
not
be.
see you won't find the Matrix in my franchise.
No, you won't buy it in mine
Sorry for
either.
the spoiler.
I mean,
Yeah,
there's some good ones, but no, I'm with you. I'll be there for John Wick 4,
yeah.
100%. But yeah, John Wick, my number 8.
All right, dude. Very cool. John Wick, you went from one action hero. I'm going to move right into the next here with my number 7, Mission Impossible. I
Nice.
feel that these films just keep getting better and better. I mean, they
Yeah.
really do. Who knew that when the movie started in 1996, which actually took place, I believe it was like maybe 6 years after the previous TV sequel series.
Yes.
And then they took the main hero from that TV show that people knew and loved and made him the bad guy in the first movie. I mean, that was what a great twist, you know? It was pretty ballsy and it worked because now we're like, you know, it's just, I love how they've given the directors the freedom to bring their own style into the movies. Brian De Palma directed the first one. It was like more of a thriller. John Woo did the second one and had that crazy over the top John Woo action. And
Oh
then
yeah.
J.J. Abrams, of course, took it over with part three, made it a little deeper and took it a little more personal by meeting Ethan's wife and giving us more insight into his personal life. And then they've just kind of gone on and I've loved how they're like actually going back and bringing characters that were in part two that you never thought you'd see again. And now they're in this movie and they've gone to more of a mythology that they're creating and each movie's building on the next one. You know, it's just fantastic. And I can't wait to see rumors that their next one's going into space, you know. What can Tom Cruise not do now, you know? But all
Exactly.
those reasons are why that's my number 7 place, man.
No, that's great. I mean, I'm with you. I think, and this is saying something for Tom Cruise, but I think this is the first this is what I think of when I think of Tom Cruise. Is Mission Impossible. It's the first thing that pops in my head. This franchise for me really took off at Ghost Protocol. To your point, when they really brought the mythology into it. I loved this franchise since then. And ending on the last one with Fallout, which is in my top 10 films of all time. It's one of the best. I mean, there's just they've had so many great actors that are in this. I mean, even Mission Impossible 2, at one point they were trying to get Suri McKillen to be the bad guy. So even the guys who were close to getting in are like just the cream of the crop actors wise. And, but this franchise is fantastic. The Tom Cruise run doesn't get any better than that. And the stunts, I mean, it's just it's real and it's him doing it, and somehow, some way, they top it every single time. And I don't know how they're going to top Fallout, but if they go to space, I guess that's going to happen. So, fantastic choice. I'm going to stay in a big blockbuster, but I'm taking it to the TV screen for my number 7, and that is Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones, the in my opinion, my favorite TV show of all time. Probably, definitely one of the biggest shows of all time. This show, I know it didn't have the ending that everybody wanted, but if you look at the big picture of how many episodes in all the seasons and the build-up, what a show this was. I was totally transfixed in front of that TV every time a new episode came on with the rest of the world, to the point where, me and my friends were like scheduling our weekends around being able to watch Game of Thrones. And it was one of the first experiences, especially in TV, where, a lot of shows you can binge watch or, I'll tape it, and then you can't do that because there's so many spoilers. You don't know which episode's going to be the next big one of, oh my God, can you believe it? And you can't wait till the next day or else you're going to be spoiled. So it keeps the audiences engaged. And, they built up this world that is just so incredible. The battle scenes, it really felt like a big cinematic experience, similar to like a Marvel or a DCU or Lord of the Rings, that kind of realm. The effects were fantastic, and you get so attached to these characters. And on top of that, I've never seen a show just kill off main characters like they're just just pieces of meat. It's crazy. I remember so many times just being like up all night, like I cannot believe they just did this, like over and over. So I wasn't as hard about the ending as most people. I didn't love it, but I didn't mind it. But I can't wait to see where they go with House of Dragon, and all these spinoffs that we're going to get, I'm sure, down the line. But Game of Thrones, my favorite TV show of all time, and that is why it's my number 7.
I love it. I love it. I love that show also. I remember specifically when the first season 1, I don't think I was quite prepared. I honestly was waiting for him to get saved before he got beheaded. I really thought it was going to happen.
Me too.
I just knew it. I knew there would be some band of archers that popped up behind the wall, just like in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves or something, right before those, everybody, the hero always gets saved right beforehand.
Of course.
That didn't happen. And then to do it all again with the son, Rob, and the Red Wedding.
Oh, the Red Wedding. Oh, my God.
Me. I didn't expect that. I didn't read the books. So, I knew the Red Wedding would be an event, but I didn't know. I just didn't expect it. and that was just whoo, that was rough. But no, fantastic choice. And it's funny you bring that show up because I think that show in contingent or contingent with this one, hand in hand, The Walking Dead. That's my number 6. Those two shows really kind of changed television in a way. I think Lost, rightfully so, spearheaded it and became more of a serialized storytelling. But these two shows, Lost might have started it, but this solidified it. Being serialized storytelling. To your point, as you said, you couldn't miss an episode, and I think the same could be said with The Walking Dead. You didn't want to know, these none of these characters were safe, just like in Game of Thrones. I mean, the series premiered, and you never knew who was going to die. But the series premiered on October 31st, 2010. It's been running for like 10 years now. It's currently renewed for the 11th. I actually didn't think I was gonna like it as much when Rick left, but they did such a good job of building up the supporting cast members that and compensating for its loss. That I think they've done a fantastic job, and I'm really still involved with the show and loving it. Fear the Walking Dead, the spinoff, admittedly, has been even from season to season, but I'm still watching it and I'm still loving it. And I'm very excited about the new spinoff, World Beyond, which was slated to start. But unfortunately, that was one of the other COVID travesties that happened being pushed back. But we've got Rick coming up with a trilogy of films coming out, so there's really no stop or end in sight for the Walking Dead world, and I couldn't be more ecstatic about it. Very, very excited about it, and those are all the reasons why it's my number 6.
No, I'm with you. I know there are very big comic stories as well throughout the years. Yes. I think that it's definitely one of the crazier. I mean, I remember like when Negan first came on, performed by the incredible Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who's one of my favorite actors. With Lucille, and you're like, someone's dying. Like, are they going to go with? Are they going to go the comic route? Are they going to kill somebody else? And he just beats the brakes out of pretty much everybody. You know what I mean? It's just like, wow. But I think we've had so many iterations of like the zombie story, right? And I think that Walking Dead's definitely nailed the zombie thing better than anything I've seen from, I Am Legend, and World War Z was really good, but I think Walking Dead still is the best zombie content that's come out. So fantastic choice. And it's funny you brought up Lost, because before I give my number 6, I would like to get a shout out to one of the companies who sponsored the footwear of Lost, and that is Nomadic State of Mind, who are one of our proud sponsors and sponsoring this episode of World's Finest. So if you're interested in some incredible footwear and sandals while you get in that hammock and read your comic, check out Nomadic State of Mind. They have incredible stuff. So thank you, Nomadic State of Mind. We're going to get back in the counter with my number 6, and it is one where you better not be wearing flip-flops or else you're going to get eaten by a dinosaur, and it's one you got brought up already. That's Jurassic Park for my number 6.
You say that, but she ran in heels.
She did. That is one of the more impressive, behind Tom Cruise, like the heels running from the T-Rex up there. But I remember as a kid just going to the theater, and it's probably the first movie I remember like in a theater, and just being like, when that T-Rex comes over the fence, just being like one of the most amazing things I have ever seen. I mean, I was a huge dinosaur geek as a kid. Like, I had a tub of dinosaur toys, before, and then when they came out, I was just so hooked and enamored. I think it really just took everybody's breath away on that's a real dinosaur, for adults and for kids, but especially it's a kid. I think I was probably 6. It came out in 93, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm 4 going on 5 years old. So like, I was like, oh my gosh, and I felt Velociraptors, or like, I loved all that. And really, to your point, I've enjoyed every single one of these movies. Obviously the first one is this very special one, and then Jurassic World, what that movie did, bringing in a new story, and what that movie did in the box office. I mean, my God, that thing over $2 billion. One of the most successful films of all time, and it continues to grow. I mean, I think the fascination with dinosaurs and the story they've been able to build and the connection you have with these characters is really special. And I'm like you, I'm super excited to see the old cast meet with the new cast, and I'm excited to see this next one big time. I think it has potential to be the best one yet. So Jurassic Park, I'm with you. It's in my top 10, and it's my number 6.
Awesome. I was digging it as well. So very cool. So now we're getting into the top
5. Yes,
Here
sir.
we are. All right. So For me, guys, I'm talking about the Tarantino films as a whole. So basically, let me kind of break this down to you. So from Dusk Till Dawn and Kill Bill, those movies, they all take place in this special movie universe within Tarantino's world, right? So when the characters of like Reservoir Dogs or Pulp Fiction, when they go to the movies, Kill Bill is what they go to see. And From Dusk to Dawn is what they see, those type of films. So just to kind of, films like Pulp Fiction and Glorious Bastards, Reservoir Dogs, they exist in the real world. While Kill Bill, From Dusk Till Dawn, Death Proof, they're that in the special movie universe. But I have just been a fan of his. I mean, really from Reservoir Dogs, which was his first film. I definitely enjoyed that one. But then Pulp Fiction was boom through the roof, man. That was just a fantastic film. Awesome performances all around. And then, from there we go to Kill Bill and then Django. And then I just recently saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and that was fantastic.
Yeah.
I mean, really fantastic. I didn't expect the spoiler alert, guys, if you're listening, sorry, but I just really expected them to follow the true history of the Manson, and it didn't. So it was really threw me for a loop. But just as a whole, I mean, his dialogue, people say it moves slow, but I just love listening to his dialogue. That's really what just gets me. He just writes some of the best, I think, out there. He's one of the best writers out there. And I've just loved every one of his films, and I can't wait to see. There's been rumors that he's going to do another movie here that I'll talk about here shortly, and I can't wait to see what he does with that. So anyway, all those reasons are why that's my number 5.
No, I love Tarantino as well. His movies are really experiences when you go to them. It's a really a movie experience was what you want when you go to the theater. I'm with you with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That movie's ending is nuts. And you just never know what to expect with his films, which is fantastic. The other thing I like about Tarantino is the level of actors that he gets because his films are so high quality. I mean, especially like Brad Pitt, Leo DiCaprio, Margot Robbie, even just for the last one. But it's continuously these A-list actors that just deliver incredible performances, and each film is spectacular. So fantastic choice for your number 5. For me, my number 5 is definitely a different kind of storyline than Tarantino, but to me, it might be definitely one of the most successful franchises of all time. That is Lord of the Rings, the Middle Earth saga, I guess would be the best way to describe it, because I'm talking about the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit, but the J.R.R. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, Middle Earth universe. This franchise, coming from books that were incredibly popular, I think were some of the best and most groundbreaking films to ever come out in cinema, especially for its time. I mean, the first 3 on its own, every single one was nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Return of the King, I think, still has the record for the most Oscars won by a single film. It won pretty much every category in the Oscars that year, and it's my favorite one. In the Hobbit trilogy, if the Lord of the Rings didn't come out first, and you compare it to that, if you just look at them, it's another incredible franchise. I've really enjoyed the story of Bilbo, Frodo, Gandalf, which is one of my favorite characters ever, Aragorn, Legolas, you name it, Gimli, the Thorin Oakenshield. I just love this world. The battles get bigger and better every single movie. And it is really, these movies were 3+ hours, but yet they go by like that, and you don't want the movie to end, and you're just transfixed into this world. And to me, it's, as far as trilogy, it's probably the best quality trilogy that might have ever come out, just because every single film is like nominated. I mean, I think that and the Godfather trilogy are the only 2 in history for every single one to be nominated for an Academy Award. So that kind of speaks for itself. But I just love this film. It's one of my dad's favorite. I remember when it came out, my dad was like super pumped because it was like one of his favorite books. It was kind of like their Harry Potter before Potter, back in the day. And stuff. And they just nailed it. Peter Jackson, hats off to you. You crushed it. And Lord of the Rings, my number 5.
Very great choice. Are you excited about the Amazon Prime show?
Absolutely. It's rumored to have a double the budget of Game of Thrones. They have and similar to Game of Thrones, there's so many side stories that you can tell within that world. I would love to see I would even love to see a movie. I know the show is not going off of this, but I would even love to see a movie or a show off of the first time Sauron came to power, with the ring, which I guess I would have loved to have seen that in that first battle. But even, it's one of those fantasy worlds where you can go back hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years and make up new characters and new stories. And I'm really excited about it. Yes, definitely. Are you?
Awesome. Yeah, dude, I am as well. I actually loved those movies also. And The Hobbit, like you said, the Hobbit trilogy was good also, but they
Yeah.
unfortunately had to be held up to that high standard of
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings. And
Yeah.
I think that was just that Guillermo del Toro was originally supposed to direct it, and then he dropped down. So it was more of a rush job for Peter. He didn't have be able to take this from beginning to end like he had.
Right.
You know what I mean? So we
Right.
had to take the reins over. And then their idea about separating the second book or whatever into two movies.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, yeah, or whatever the hell they
It was
did it.
one book into 3 movies.
Yeah, well, that was the mistake. I think that was what it
Yeah.
was. But I think two movies would have been just perfect as opposed to bad. So,
Yeah.
anyway, but no, fantastic choice, man. For me, my friend, I had just talked about a movie that Tarantino might make, and there's lots of rumors that his next film might be a Star Trek film. So that is my number 4. I have been a fan of Trek since I was a kid. I mean, the original show, the original series, I was watching that. I was on that almost every day. It was syndicated, growing up, still showing syndicated now. But fan of all the Treks, but the original series for sure, and Next Generation, they were definitely my jam. I definitely enjoyed Deep Space Nine and Voyager, Captain Sisko in Deep Space Nine and Captain Janeway in Voyager. I definitely watched those. Even Star Trek Enterprise, Captain Archer. Still now watching the new shows that are coming on. Picard has been fantastic. Star Trek Discovery. And then they got a brand new one coming out too called Strange New Worlds. So I've only just talked about the TV shows because the movies, even with the original series cast, I loved them. And that's when they had the curse, of course, that only the even numbered ones were good, and that's very true. Actually, we're starting the first one, Star Trek One motion picture, total flop. It was so slow, and I remember going to see that as a kid, being so excited, and I was just like, oh my gosh, what are we watching? And it was so cerebral and just whoa. And they came back out with Wrath of Khan, and that was fantastic. And then now we've moved on into the Kelvin timeline with newer cast, and I think Chris Pine. I always remember thinking, man, when these original series cast guys die, how could they ever replace them? I honestly remember seeing movies and watching that back then. Yeah, they're so iconic. But I tell you what, J.J. Abrams got a fantastic cast together, man. And Chris Pine, Zachary Quinto, they do Spock and Kirk fantastic. Oh my gosh, help me out. What is the guy's name who plays Bones also?
Keith, not Keith Urban, or Mr. Shoot. His last name's
Carl Urban.
Carl
Urban. Yes, thank you very much. So I mean, they picked fantastic guys to hit those main 3 up in the series. I've loved those movies. And actually, a little known fact for some of you who might not know, Chris Hemsworth actually that really kicked off his career being in the first film. He was James T. Kirk's father and played him in the first 10 minutes and then died. And that really kind of catapulted his career. But I really am disappointed if we never see that cast together again. I know there's rumors that they might. The Tarantino one, as I mentioned here in the beginning, we don't know if he'll do a new thing or whatever it is, or if he'll even write one for this new cast. But it's going to be rated R, whatever it is. So that's going to be interesting to see a rated R Star Trek film. But yeah, man, I've just loved Star Trek for a very long time, and all those reasons why it's number 4.
No, I know this is a franchise with a huge following. I admit I haven't been as a big a follower of the TV shows, but I have loved the movies, especially Star Trek Into Darkness. I think that's my favorite one. The second one with Benedict Cumberbatch as Khan. I love that movie. I think the cast has been fantastic. It's I love all the iterations. I think in every one of them has been good and had huge followings. And even going back to back in the day, Tom Hardy was in Star Trek, and they've had a lot of actors that kicked off their career. Leonard Nimoy is still the GOAT, as far as that franchise goes. So I'll just say live long, prosper, and great choice, my friend. I'm going to go, speaking of Chris Hemsworth, my number 4 is the Marvel universe. That is Marvel Comics, MCEU, the entire Marvel universe. I mean, from really this point on in the list, these are I'm a die-hard fan for these characters. So for me, I mean, starting with just the Avengers superheroes, not just talking about the movies, but in the comics, you got Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, Spider-Man, who is just an iconic character, the Hulk, Doctor Strange, Black Panther. I mean, it goes on and on. Not even talking about the X-Men, who Wolverine, my favorite Marvel character, is a part of. This has just been such a great franchise over the years, going from animated cartoon shows, legendary comic books, and then, maybe the longest running successful franchise of all time with the MCU. It is unparalleled, remarkable what that franchise has done over the course of 20 plus films, really ending with Infinity War and Endgame being probably two of the biggest movie experiences I have ever experienced in my life. I remember going to the first Avengers movie with Joss Whedon, and the first time seeing a team up, of characters in a theater, and just being blown away and being like, I don't know how it'll ever get better than this. And then you got Infinity War, which has like 800 characters in it, and I genuinely don't know how they did it. I mean, hats off to them. They have nailed the B-list character and turning them into strictly A-list material now, which is funny. 20 years ago, Iron Man was who? He's just like what some of these, like he's there's secondary DC characters that were more popular than A-list Marvel characters at that time, minus probably Spider-Man, Wolverine, and Hulk. And now, I mean, Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr. and Chris. I mean, just the cast they've had, and in the comic books, I mean, you got Doctor Doom, Thanos, Galactus, just some amazing villains. Not to mention all the Spider-Man villains, from Doc Ock to Venom, to Scorpion, the Kingpin, Daredevil. I mean, the list goes on and on with this amazing franchise. I love them, and unfortunately, it can't be higher because these next three are just so passionate. But I love Marvel, and that's why they're my number 4.
Can't go wrong with that. Anybody who's listened to us before knows how I feel also. So great stuff, man. For me, this shouldn't be a surprise either if you guys have listened. Yes, sir. Top 3. Here we go. Talking about Star Wars. For me, yes, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. This is really what I believe might have be responsible for kicking off movie franchises in general.
Yeah.
And I mean, it holds a lot of different firsts for this movie franchises. Some are blockbusters. There's a lot of things that George Lucas did when he created this world, of this tale of good versus evil. And it's just been so fantastically done. I mean, we are, somewhere in 1977, this little movie that no one thought would do anything at all. Just were like, what? Actors were embarrassed to be in it, even the ones who signed on to be in it.
Right.
Alec Guinness is famously well known for not wanting to, just like was just doing this for the money or whatever. Didn't understand what the hell he was even in. Talking about the guy who played Obi-Wan Kenobi. So, but no, I mean, I've just loved it, man. And then, of course, then Empire Strikes Back came out, and that's maybe my favorite movie of all time. I mean, it really is. I had just never seen anything like that before, where the good guys are just losing the whole everything all the time. And then that's it. And the movie ends. They just get their butts kicked. And of course, you've seen that before in other movies at the time, but there's always going to be the good guys that went out at the end. And no, it didn't. And I was like, what's happening? What's happening here? And then that day and age, you had to wait 3 full years with no internet, know what's going on or anything. So it was a long, long time to have to wait. But no, and then of course they're still going strong. Of course, now that we've had the prequels, we've had the new trilogy, and regardless how some people, there's been a lot of stuff, and a lot of people hating each other and fandom cries and battles and all of that. But hey, they are what they are, and I'm glad we have them. I'm glad we have them, and we're moving on into the television show now. Mandalorian's been fantastic. We've got other shows on the horizon. They've got the comic books now are running strong. I think after a number of years of being away from comic form, now they're really really telling some good stories, some strong stories of the stuff that takes place in between Star Wars and Empire, and of course Empire and Return of the Jedi now that's
Yeah.
supposed to be canon. So
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't see any end. And I know we've had some false steps and stuff with the movies, but I think we're going to find sooner or later they'll be back firing on all cylinders, man. Right now, TV shows have been great, and I can't wait to see what they're doing next. So all those
Oh,
reasons, man. Number 3.
I mean, how can you go wrong with Star Wars? I'm with you. I would definitely say, I know you agree, the regardless of where it is on the list, definitely the most important franchise on
Yeah.
this list for sure. I mean, what it's done for I don't think really many of these franchises would even be franchises if Star Wars didn't come first. It really started the whole thing with movies. It started the whole summer blockbuster. It started, special effects. I mean, it's groundbreaking in so many ways. And regardless of how you feel about this episode, what it's done, I mean, you got to appreciate Star Wars. So fantastic choice. It may come soon in my list as well, maybe. But we're talking about my number 3, which is the Harry Potter saga. This is the surprisingly, even though I know we talk about DC a lot, we talk about Marvel a lot in comics, this is actually probably the franchise that I know the most about, which is probably something that might surprise some people. But this was my Star Wars in the sense of these movies and books came out when I was a kid. It was actually the first book series I remember reading, and I was always the age of the characters as the movies came out. I was always 11 during the first one. I was 12 when the second one came out, and so I grew up with this movie more than anything else, or with this franchise more than anything else. As far as the movies go, they've been astounding, each one. I mean, for an all British cast, and what they've done is really tremendous, and they've really brought out the careers for a lot of different actors that are big time in Hollywood now. But it's been an incredible ride to watch, and then to stem from a set of books that have really, I mean, can you name a bigger book other than like the Bible? I mean, what this book series has done is unbelievable. And the books to me are better than the movies. The story writing of J.K. Rowling is second to none, and you really just get transfixed in this magical world. I mean, she said it many times. What person doesn't secretly wish that they could go to Hogwarts and learn how to do magic and do all these things? And I just think her writing is so well done. Easily my favorite books of all time, and as a proud Hufflepuff, I can say it's my number 3. And yeah, Harry Potter.
Dude, great. As you said, I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again.
No,
For where, I mean, people were lining up in stores for
weeks.
hours and sleeping overnight and stuff like that, and camping out in order to get these books. I don't think we saw it a little bit with my number 2 franchise, which is 50 Shades of Grey. We saw that a little. No, no,
We just had
but we did. No, but we did. I mean, that Bible. I'm joking, but I mean, people were doing that for that book too, on a smaller scale. But I mean, I don't think we'll ever see that again. I really don't.
No.
It's just, and the way it just blew up into your point in the world, and everybody wants to go to Hogwarts. Everybody wants to be a Hufflepuff, and just it's just they're really well done. I think. Do you have a particular favorite one though out of that series?
Book wise or movie wise? Because it's actually different answers for me.
Oh,
For the movies,
both.
so the first one's always the first one, so that one's special in its own way. But like the quality of it wise, I really like. There's 3, and I don't really know how to rank them. The third one, Prisoner of Azkaban, was so well done.
Mhm.
Goblet of Fire was incredible, especially cinematically, because it's like this big tournament, and there's dragons, and there's like Voldemort finally comes out. It's just like this huge buildup has really been building for this book, and then the last one, I think they actually nailed the ending. You know what I mean?
No
And
spoilers.
that's
Don't say
really
anything.
hard. Yeah, it's really hard to do. But I would say if I had to rank, my favorite book is probably the last one. My favorite movie is probably Goblet of Fire. So
Okay.
that is mine. And I think too, the movies have been done for over a decade, but I dare you to go to any store and not find a whole section of Harry Potter stuff, or go in Barnes and Noble. The biggest sellers they have are still Harry Potter a decade later. You know what I mean? So it's really incredible. And, I think it's going to be around for a long time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%, and I think you actually said something very important. I think that's important is Prisoner of Azkaban. That was the third movie, right?
Yes,
If I'm
I
not
love that
mistaken,
one.
and
Yes,
that is where I think the director the first two were Christopher Columbus,
yes,
and then I think really where it hit its stride is
yes.
with
A lot of
Alfonso Cuarón.
Alfonso, yeah, yeah.
Cuarón, I think, if I'm saying it
Corrado or
correctly.
something. He
Yeah,
for pretty much all of us here, he's the one who he
yeah,
really was onto something because he came up with the idea of whatever the story is, we're gonna tell it through Harry's point of view. And I think that really just was like, okay, wait, we get it. And he went with a darker feel, which it
yep,
should be, you know what I mean? So that's really what kicked it off for me. And that's why it's in there as one of my favorites because he really just kind of changed the game. And granted, too, like, Chris Columbus had unexperienced actors that were 11 and 12 years old. So he could only really do so much. And he even says, like, it was part acting lesson, part, shooting a movie. Whereas they
yeah.
finally started getting and I mean, but he did an incredible job. So, yeah, I'm with you, dude.
Awesome. Very cool choice, my friend. Very cool choice. Well, we are moving into the top two now.
Yes.
And this would be no surprise for anyone here, but for me, it is Marvel. Jake, you covered a lot of good points that I agree with 100%.
Yeah.
The thing they've been able to do, the tapestry they've been able to create in the cinematic world, and how this is tying into this, and the plan, and the amount of planning that goes into it, the intricacy. It's just been fantastic. And that's just the cinematic world alone. But I've always been a fan of the comics growing up, of course, as you guys already know, the audience out there. So to finally see these people in live action was just fantastic as a team. We'd gotten Spider-Man movies and the X-Men movies, of course, but and then just repeating what you said, to take these B-list characters and do what they've done with it, it's just fantastic. And then the TV shows that they've got that are coming out, I can't wait to see what Disney Plus does with it. But yeah, just a fantastic world that I've always loved, and I just cannot wait to see what we continue or how they continue it on. I'm just so excited about it. So yeah, Marvel's my number two, man.
Yeah, I mean, Marvel for me could have ranged anywhere from 2 to 4. For me, I mean, it's spectacular. So, fantastic choice. I'm stealing one of yours for number two. For me, it's Star Wars. Again, the most important franchise ever, and just the quality. I mean, everything from, like you said, New Hope all the way up to me, like Rise of Skywalker. I've in some form, even the ones I've been more disappointed of, I still loved it because of the world and the way they built this world up.
Yeah.
It's second to none. I mean, everything from the creatures to the mythos of Jedi and Sith and lightsaber battles and starships, and I mean, it's so different and cool. And I mean, for me too, I don't know about you, but I think it's probably the first time also in any movie where the villain is the favorite character. Like most people, Darth Vader's their man. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, and it's at the end of the day, it's his story. You know what I mean? Throughout the whole Sky, it's really Darth Vader's story. So that's different from what it's the hero and oh that bad guy don't like it, but everybody loves Darth Vader. He's arguably the greatest villain ever. So
Yeah.
to touch on everything you said, I mean, they just have had so many great actors and performances, and I've enjoyed every single bit of it. And I'm really excited for what's to come. I love Mandalorian. I'm really, really excited for the Kenobi show. Ewan
Mhm.
McGregor, one of my favorite characters within Star Wars. So that's going to be exciting. And this franchise is going to be around for a long time. So fantastic choice on your part. And that's my number two. So before we get into number one, let's do just a really quick dive of your 3 honorable mentions real quickly. Who were the 3 that almost made your list, but not quite?
All right, for me, it is a movie franchise that started off a little differently, but has gone through a transformation. And I'm talking about the Fast and the Furious. The first film came out in 2001. Really began the original trilogy of films focused on racing. Coming in the Fast and the Furious, Tokyo Drift. It had a soft reboot with Fast and the Furious, which transitioned the series at that point in time to really like more heists and spying. And then that was followed by 4 sequels. I've just really, again, started off with the racing, and then they really just kind of switched up. And I'm just really a big fan of the franchise. I love how they kind of keep adding characters in, and also how they take a minor character that might have appeared in a small place in one, and then all of a sudden you see he's got a main role and what that role meant back then and there. It's like a little puzzle that they've pieced together, and I'm really impressed with that. And they keep getting bigger and bigger. I mean, they've always had The Rock and Vin Diesel and stuff like that. But when now Charlize is signing on, and she's one of the main, she's the bad guy, and Helen Mirren is there, so all just getting great actors to be a part of it. So that was that, and then another one for me is Indiana Jones. Big fan of Indiana Jones. Spielberg took all the best aspects of the swashbuckling 30s and 40s serials and just put it all together, added the supernatural, and bam, an awesome franchise was born. Temple of Doom, even famous for creating the PG-13 rating.
Absolutely.
So those are a couple of my honorable mentions, my friend.
No, I love it. For me, I'm going to go with the James Bond 007 saga, specifically the Daniel Craig version. He's my favorite, even though Sean Connery also is incredible as well. But the suave spy, I think everybody in a real life world, who wouldn't want to be James Bond's life with the pretty girls and the cars and the cool suits and all that? It's just been a crazy franchise. Really excited for the last one. And then my second one is going to be the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Again, for me as a kid, that was like the height of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers when they first came out. I was a kid in his Red Ranger outfit, ready to roll with the Zords and the fighting. And you look back now and you're like, oh my gosh, this might not be holding up so well. But for me, it's such a nostalgic thing. So that is my honorable mentions. So enough with that. Let's just dive into number one. I'm pretty sure we have the same number one. So we might be able to just talk about it. Are you talking about Twilight? Because I'm talking about Twilight. I know.
I am.
I think I can speak for both of us. Say these guys right here are heading up the number one spot, and that is DC Comics. Let's just talk about it because obviously this is, we don't want to be broken records. DC,
Huge
go
fan.
ahead, man.
Yeah, DC, that's it. That's it, man. I mean, you guys know, right? As he said, Superman and Batman right over there behind our shoulders. I mean, those are the guys. They caught my eye as a kid, and I've grown up with them. I've been fans of theirs ever since. But the world of DC is just fantastic. I think they've got Batman alone has the best villains, but only his villains, his rogues gallery alone. But there's so many villains out there that are just as well done and almost as popular as some of the good guys that they've created. In there. I mean, outside of Superman and Batman, the main seven, the Justice League, there's so many other B-list characters that I care about actually, that I actually do care about, and I'm a big fan of a lot of those B-list characters. Even some of this, I would even go dark and down a little bit more and say C-list characters. It's just one of those franchises for me that I really have that I hold near and dear to my heart. From Batman 66 to Super Friends, through the animated cartoons into the live action stuff from Keaton all the way to Affleck, dude. You know what I mean? And even Pattinson. I'm going to say that too. And back to Affleck again. And Keaton again in 2021. All the way back, I guess we'll get 3 different Batman in 2021 or somewhere close to it or something. Like that. So I'm just a huge fan.
Yep, and I'll go even one further with the comic roots. I mean, granted, and this is what puts it ahead for me at Marvel. Just their comic books and storylines over the years are just absolutely incredible. I mean, you got these two titans that are behind us here. By far the introductions of a superhero, of a comic book, of everything that so many of us have grown up with and connect with, and there are these titans that. From Wonder Woman to Aquaman, Green Lantern to C-listers like Blue Beetle and the Teen Titans and Robin. I mean, there's so many names that go back 70, 80 years.
You just put Teen Titans on C-list.
No, I'm saying character types now. No, C-list is more like Booster Gold. And,
Right. All right. I was like, hey, man.
No. Never put Titans that low. Never. No, but I mean, the stories are just incredible. Again, the villains from Joker all the way down to Doomsday and Brainiac and Darkseid and all these guys are just absolutely incredible. And they've been around for such an amount of time, and what they meant for pop culture in general. I mean, going back to the 1930s and 40s, this are the same characters that we are still crazy about now. I mean, the Batman and Superman symbol are in the top 5 of most recognizable symbols in the world. And that is incredible. I mean, you can go to somebody who is not a geek at heart, that doesn't watch Star Wars or they don't watch Marvel or any of that, but they know who Batman and Superman are, and even Wonder Woman, for girls and women, and what a strong, I mean, she's the bar, man. So they're what I hold the closest to my heart, and that's why it's my number one. They mean the most, no matter who fills the role or who's playing who. I'm going to be there because I just love these characters so much, and I've learned so much from these characters over the years. So yeah, I applaud your number one being that's the same as mine.
Yes, same to you, my friend. Keep in mind that we got a Justice or got an Avengers film before we got an Avengers film, and that it did so successfully well over those as well. I'll never understand how that happened.
I don't either, but it's okay. We're gonna get the Snyder Cut. It's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna be there. So, but thank you guys for tuning in to our top 10 franchises. We want to let you curious what you guys think again and hear about who your top 10 franchises are. Again, we appreciate your patience waiting while we rebooted this whole YouTube channel, and we're excited to come out with some more content. Our next episode is actually going to be me and Lee breaking down 10 characters that are not A-list characters, but maybe B and C-list superheroes that we think you should check out. So please tune in if you're interested in that. We're going to give you a little tutorial on some B and C-list characters that are definitely worth your interest, and we're going to be really excited to bring that to you. But please check out our website, www.comiccollectorsguild.com. You can also check out our new swag on TeePublic by searching for the Comic Collectors Guild, and check out all audio content on Spotify and Google Podcasts. Lee, it's been an honor, and I'm so glad we got to hop back on the mic and do this again. I'm excited to roll out a lot of new content with you, and we hope you guys have enjoyed the first episode of the reboot. So thank you very much, Lee. I appreciate it. And until next time, guys, keep hunting.